Hello, welcome to Frank's School. This is Gloss speaking. Do you remember Gloss? I introduced him. I said, meet Gloss. Well, it's this other persona where I'm giving commentary on Frank's School. And the name, I guess I'll go with this. I don't know exactly how to do it, but this is Gloss on the videos up to first year 11th day second video, from where I stopped before. I'm not sure how I'm going to name these, but if you see Gloss in the title, that'll be a sign that this is commentary now. All right, there are a few views. I notice as I look at my channel, the views really drop at the point that I instruct in how to set notes up for the class. Much more interest in the subject itself, the introduction to the subject, and certainly in Much Ado About the guided viewing of Much Ado About Nothing. And I think that's a sign that there's few, if anybody, who actually has set out to take my course, the 180 days of my course. I don't know. Let me know if you are. That could change. It also occurred to me that Blackboard availability. I have a Blackboard. I have chalk. I don't think there's any better medium. But what happened as part of the standardization of the schools and the love affair with what they call what generally was called technology, something I objected to because a lever and a fulcrum is technology, a wheel is technology, but they meant computer chip technology. With the availability of that, the chalkboards disappeared from the classroom. They physically took them out. I asked why. I asked why at one point, and somebody said, well, it's because of the dust that the chalk makes. It's not good for the computers. I don't know. Well, anyway, if you have no Blackboard available, you can't really teach my way. I find whiteboard with those markers, they stink, and I don't know. I just don't, it's hard to erase. So I don't know, that's kind of a shame. Don't know what I can do about that. Now, in the setting up of the notes, one of the things I didn't mention is what about trying to take notes without lines at all? No lines, just blank paper, white paper, and take the notes on that. That was like tipping my hat to artists among my students, and surely there were artists. The lines could have been very confining, I think, to an artist. Although to the best of my knowledge, I never had a student actually go with that and choose to use no lines at all. It would have been welcome. I often said to my students, they're welcome to doodle and make drawings on their notes. That's fine. Marginalia, that's fine. And some kids did that. So I offered them, after a while I stopped doing it, but at the beginning I offered them paper with no lines if they wanted to try to do that. What about the left-handers? Well, I always say put the holes on the left. When I'd give a quiz, put the holes on the left, and then your name and the date. Well, by putting the holes on the left when it was bound, that way you came to the face of the quizzes that they kept, or the documents that they kept. You kept to the face of them first. You didn't hit the back of it. What about a left-hander? I had noticed at one point, or for a while in college, I went from what right-handers standardly is thought of as the back of a notebook toward the front. And I wrote on the back of the pages first and went toward the opposite direction. I did that because I'm left-handed, and my hand, the binding and my hand would conflict. So once again, I don't even know if I even mentioned that to students, because I think that would have been so different. But had someone gone with that, or if in the privacy of your home, a homeschooler, you're a left-hander, I don't see why you couldn't do that. In which case you'd say put the holes on the right, and that way as you go through, I'll get myself mixed up here. All right, playlists. I'm thinking I'll probably create some new playlists. I'll maybe make a short playlist called The Setting Up of Notes. Just maybe 2 or 3 videos long. And I'm also thinking about making the chronological survey a playlist. Now that could easily be 100 videos long, 120 videos long. I'm not sure, but if somebody only wanted to go through the chronological survey and leave the other stuff out of my course, then they could use that playlist. I'm thinking about that. Now, at this point, I owe something in a way to Donald Trump. He jogged my memory. When he pardoned that sheriff on social media, people raged about him doing that. That it was like an imperial act, you know, not even going to the courts with the idea just waving his scepter and pardoning a guy being sort of above the law. In a way. Anyway, as all those comments were going on, you know, I thought, what's my comment? And I simply said, the man who would be king. And that was an allusion. I'll teach about allusions soon. That was a reference to something famous. The man who would be king, maybe I should have put this, well, I'm referring to the movie here. That's a long, short story written by Rudyard Kipling, The Man Who Would Be King. And it's wonderful. Well, I actually think the movie's better than the short story, and I have read the short story. But anyway, at this point in my class, long ago, I stopped doing this eventually, but at the very beginning, I chose to show a clip from the movie The Man Who Would Be King. And I wouldn't tell the students why. I'd just say, hey, watch this. And then I'll get to the end, I'll ask you, why did I do that? What did that have to do with anything? I never used a movie or a clip simply to entertain the kids. They can spend the rest of their life being entertained. Well, you can find the clip. I was delighted to see this. You can find it on YouTube if you look up The Man Who Would Be King, the contract. That very section that I would show was there. And why? Well, Rudyard Kipling, the name Rudyard Kipling, students might, I would ask them, and they might come up with, well, wasn't he a famous, or they wouldn't know yet, the Jungle Book. They might know the Jungle Book. Rudyard Kipling, to see his name, to see those actors, to see India, and reference to Afghanistan. Where is that? This is around the year 1910. Maybe. I mean, part of my course, I've already been to Sicily around 1400 with Much Ado About Nothing, and I never actually made a list of all the different places and times that I took students to. That I took students to, but that's they got to see what it looked like at that time when people still wrote with pen and ink. But no, that's not it either. That's not why I chose it at that particular time. And I'm not going to tell you right now either. I'll tell you the next time Gloss shows up. I think I'll remember. I'll explain why what was my justification in using that little clip. All right, I guess that's plenty for today. Bye now.